All right, so today we're going to be talking about operations with real numbers. So how do you add, subtract, multiply, and divide real numbers? So how is it different from before is we're going to add in fractions, otherwise it's the same as what we've been doing. So the warm-up, you want to look at these and figure out what is the sum using the number line. So pause the video and take some time to answer these questions. All right, so this first one is 3 plus 5. So you can add that together and you get 8. But if we use the number line, you want to make a mark at 3 and then go 5 to the right. So go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you end up at 8, and that's your answer. For the next one, we're doing 3 plus negative 5. So start again at 3, and then since it's negative, we want to go left. So we're going to go down 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And your answer is negative 2. Similar idea with these ones. So we have negative 3 plus 5. So start at negative 3. We're adding a positive 5, so we're going to go to the right. Go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Your answer is positive 2. And the last one, start at negative 3 again. Start right here. And then we're adding a negative 5, so we want to go left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And your answer is negative 8. All right, so in general, when you're adding numbers with the same sign, you want to add the numbers together. So sign here is positive or negative. So if you have two negative numbers or two positive numbers, you want to add them together and then use the same sign. So if you have like negative 3 minus 5, add 3 and 5, your answer is negative 8. When you're adding numbers with different signs, you want to subtract the numbers and then keep the sign of the bigger number. So like if you're doing like 8 minus or 8 plus a negative 3, subtract those two, you get 5, and that's going to be a positive 5 because 8 is bigger than negative 3 or 3. So what operation is the same as adding a negative number? Pause a minute and think about this. The answer is subtraction. So when you're adding a negative number, you're really subtracting. So you could rewrite this as negative 3 minus 5, which would then give you negative 8. Same here, this could be written as 3 minus 5. So we have two different signs. We're going to subtract and get 2, and keep the sign of large number. You get negative 2 as your answer. All right, so if you subtract a negative number, it becomes addition. These two negatives kind of cancel each other out and become positive. So you get 10 plus 4, which is 14, or negative 3 plus 7, which is positive 4. All right, so word problem here. If a scuba diver goes 18 feet below water, so that's our first number, to take pictures of a school of fish. So she's here and she goes 18 feet down. Then she swims up 6 feet to avoid some coral. So she went up 6 and then dives down 32 feet. So it went down 32 to explore a second ship. Then she swims up 11 feet to reach her last spot. So we want to figure out how far below is this cave that's her last stop. So once you get those numbers, you can ignore everything else. We don't care about any of the other stuff. That's not important. We just want to look at this stuff. So I'll highlight it. We went 18 feet below, then she goes up 6, down 32, and up 11. So if we write this out, She went down 18, so she had to go negative 18. She swam up 6, so adding 6. Went down another 32, and then up 11. And then to find your answer, you just add these all together to get negative 33 feet below the water. And that's your answer. All right, multiplying and dividing. So when multiplying or dividing numbers that have the same sign, the result is always positive. So whether you have like 2 times 2, so 2 positive numbers would be positive, negative 2 times negative 2 would also be positive. When multiplying or dividing numbers with different signs, the result is always negative. So negative 2 times positive 2 would be negative 4. All right, so then operations with fractions. We're going to do each one separately. So adding, there's 3 steps. First, you want to find a common denominator, then you want to add them together, and then simplify if you can. So here, if we're going to find a common denominator, we want to multiply this fraction by 2 over 2 and this fraction by 3 over 3, because then we have 3 over 2 and 3 over 2, or 3 times 2 and 3 times 2 for both fractions. When you're multiplying fractions, use multiply straight across and straight across. We'll talk about in the next one. So you get 3 on the top of your first fraction and 6 on the bottom. And the next one is 8 on the top and 6 on the bottom. Now when you add them together, you're just doing 3 plus 8. So 3 plus 8 will give you 11 over 6. And then at this point you want to see, is there anything you can divide 11 by and 6 by and get whole numbers? The answer for this one is no, so you're done, so we don't have to simplify anything. All right, subtracting. Similar idea. You want to find a common denominator and then subtract and then simplify. So find the common denominator here. I'm going to multiply this one by 5 over 5 and this one by 4 over 4. So you're taking the opposite denominator to multiply. Then 5 times 5 and 4 times 5 and 9 times 4 and 5 times 4. So you get 25 on the top, 20 on the bottom, and then you subtract 36 on the top and 20 on the bottom. So then 25 minus 36 is going to give you negative 11 all over 20. Again, you can't simplify this one because you have a prime on top. And then we're going to keep going. Multiplying. So multiplication, you want to multiply across the top and then also multiply across the bottom to get your answer. So 2 times 5 is 10. 3 times 6 is 18. And now at this point we can simplify. So both of these numbers are divisible by 2. So I'm going to divide 10 by 2 and divide 18 by 2, which then will give you 5 on top and 9 on the bottom. And now you can't go any farther. So this is your final answer. Dividing is very similar, except the first step is you want to take this second fraction and flip it. So we have 11 over 3, and then I'm going to flip this fraction to get the reciprocal. And then you want to multiply instead of divide. So you multiply across, and you get 55 on the top and 12 on the bottom. And this one does not simplify again. A note, you can also do these in your calculator. So if we were going to enter, say, this one, back to a pen, this one, you would have to type in parentheses, 2 divided by 3 times 5 divided by 6, and that would give you some decimal. Then you want to hit math and hit enter, and it will give you the fraction. So let me pull up my calculator and show you how to do that. Wait for this to pop up. Sometimes it takes a little bit. Again, I said this before, but if you don't have a graphing calculator, you can get an app on your iPad that is going to work just the same as this calculator. Well, that's thinking. We're going to do the last slide and then come back to the example. So a reciprocal numbers just means you're flipping it. So reciprocal numbers always have to equal 1 if you take a number and its reciprocal. So an example here, if you do 4 times 5, its reciprocal is 5 over 4. If you multiply that together, the top becomes 20, the bottom becomes 20, divide them, and you get 1. The reciprocal of 5 here's a little weird because there's no fraction. Any whole number, just put it over 1. And we'll do the same with this one. And then when you flip it, you'll get 1 over negative 5, and that's your answer. That's when you flip it, 7 over negative 2, flip it, and you get 1 over 12, and that's your reciprocal. All right, back to our calculator example. So if I go to the main screen here, and we want to enter this fraction right here, you can do parentheses 2 divided by 3, close your parenthesis, times parenthesis 5 divided by 6, close your parenthesis, hit enter, and it's going to give you a fraction or a decimal like this. Then you want to hit math, and then you want this number 1, but you can just hit enter once, enter again, and it gives you your fraction 5/9 already simplified. So you're welcome to use a calculator as long as the question does not say to do it by hand. And that is it for notes. So make sure you check Schoology to figure out what the assignment is, and that's all.